Hey everyone, yeah, it's about almost 6:55 p.m. I'm doing a 3 to 11 shift tonight, then I'm off tomorrow, and I'm doing a morning shift, if you will, well, actually a first shift on Saturday. But anyway, you know, kind of thought I'd talk about my 10 favorite Sonic stories out of Archie's Sonic comics. I know Mixed Fan 8643 is going to do one if he hasn't done one already. But I figured, you know what, I'm going to try to, I figured I'd probably give him a little idea and give you guys a little idea what my 10 favorites are. Now, I'm not going to go into any detail. I'm not going to go into any detail, but what I will do is just kind of name them off, if you will. Now, number 10, to me, I have to go with issue 29. Here's why. Even though it was a story arc that went for one issue, it was put together in two mini chapters, if you will, it kind of showed that despite who the writer was, and at the time it was Ken Penders, that I guess Archie was trying to send the message that no character was vulnerable. And they were also trying to send the message that perhaps there was more of what you're about to see to come. Now also, Archie's now basically not to really suck up to them, and not many people want to. But I guess you gotta give Archie Comics credit. You know, Archie Comics and the writing team that was a part of them at that time tried their best to basically, give the fans stories that were very Sad AM-like. And this issue here was pretty much like that. Because think about it. Here you had, in one whole main story, you basically had Sally allow herself to be roboticized. And this is also off the heels of I guess you could say the best-selling and hot-selling Princess Sally miniseries comics, the 3-issue comic series of Princess Sally, and it was off that momentum. Now, when one reads the story, and a little bit of spoilers here, but when one reads the story, initially, the plan obviously was for Sally to separate from the freedom fighters for a certain time, and thus allow herself to be roboticized, but with her free will intact. Now, one could definitely see that from a story perspective, that does fit into the world of Sad AM, because the characters, because basically this would be something that would kind of span on for maybe several episodes. But the only thing that defeated its purpose, of course, was the fact that Ken Penders, I think the one who wrote it at the time, decided, no, we're only going to do it for one issue. We're just going to do it for the main story of this one issue. And oh, by the way, we're going to have it backfire on the freedom fighters. And how does it backfire? But basically, the device that would allow her to have her free will basically pops off when she's trying to allow herself to be captured and stuff. So yeah, basically a very Sad AM-like story in issue 29, and it's also remembered because it's the comic book debut of Dulcie, and the way they introduce her is quite good. I mean, they give her an origin, they give her a background as to why she's with the Freedom Fighters, unlike the show. And it gives her a hero moment because she realizes, she notices that the plan has backfired and that she has the one thing that they kept around just in case something would happen. Just in case that would happen, she's got the only thing that can help save her friends. And she does just that. But basically, Sally's first robotization to me is one of my favorites, and it's a number 10 favorite for me. Number 9, wow. Number 9 to me, I would probably. Number 9 to me, I would probably have to go with one of Ian Flynn's stories. Sorry, but just checking my time, and I got about 19 minutes or so. But I'd have to go with one of Ian Flynn's stories that he did in the 200s, or the 180s, 200s. And it introduced Bunny's background, finally. And that is when it introduced her Uncle Beauregard. And it basically was that water and oil story, if you will. To me, that is one of the best team-ups I've seen of Bunny and Sonic in a while. And here's the thing, I love Sonic and Sally as a couple, there's no doubt about it. I'm a shipper of that. I'm a supporter of that. I love Bunny and Antoine as a married couple. I'm a supporter and shipper of that. But, to me, anytime you have Sonic team up with Bunny, it's like non-stop action all the way. It's like non-stop action all the way, and again, to me, this is one of those best examples. I mean, it allows them to actually tangle a little bit, which anybody's a fan of, because out of all the Freedom Fighters, Bunny's the only one that can actually match, match power with Sonic. So that's kind of cool in that perspective. But when you have them teaming up, it's like you can't get any better. You really can't. You can't get any better than those two teaming up together. And to me, this two-part story, did a lot more than we can ever expect. I mean, one, it introduced family, Bunny, a part of Bunny's family. Two, we got sort of a clue, a hint as to where the Mighty and Ray storylines were going to coincide down the line. We're going to be heading towards, because we met Matilda. And we also had a good reasoning, if you will, or sort of a good reasoning, as to why Bunny's family, her uncle, was basically in the position he was in. I mean, to me, it's one of the better stories that they've done. And again, one of the better team-ups. I mean, when you look at Ultrasonic from season 1 of Sad AM, and you see when they split into teams of 3, Sally has Rhoda and Antoine with her. Okay, fine. But you see who Uncle Chuck chooses to go with him. Sonic and Bunny. It's like, what more can you ask for? Because that is, and that is an awesome team up. So to me, this is one of the reasons I think this story by Ian Flynn, I can't think of it right now, where we get introduced to Bunny's Uncle Beauregard, and so, to me, it's one of the better team ups out there, and I don't really think anybody can argue that. Number 9 to me. I would have to, it's kind of hard when you look back at all these stories. But I think number 9 to me would have to be the original 48-page super special from the second issue, and that is Brave New World. I mean, again, it's another Ken Penders story, but despite what you want to say about the guy, he does know how to write good material. Yeah, the art sometimes is, could be that of an acquired taste or is slight to be desired, but to me, Brave New World definitely kind of set the stage of the aftermath of Endgame. It set the stage of how much the freedom fighters, the surviving Mobians and all that, how much they were going to have to go through and deal with in this aftermath. You see the emotional, effects that it has. I mean, when Sally goes into what was once her room, her bedroom, and see what Egg Robotnik had turned it into, it's like you could feel for her right there. You can feel her emotion there. And it's the same with Sonic, in a sense. When he finds out that his Uncle Chuck basically kept a secret, basically kept the fact that his parents were alive, basically. And they kept it from him. Only for Sonic to reconcile and say, okay, I understand now. So to me, that is just, so to me, Brave New World really, really is a good conclusion, if you will, good epilogue, if you will, to Endgame. Because now you see what they have to deal with. I mean, you find out that, there's going to still be danger on every corner. At every corner, there's no denying that. But it's like, this is exactly the kind of story you want as a follow-up, as a conclusion, as an epilogue. Despite who may write it or not, this is what you want. And to me, I really enjoyed it. I really did. So, overall, I will give Ken Penders credit for Brave New World, the Supersonic special, 48-page special, which was the second issue. Number 7 is quite a different, number 7 is quite, it's really kind of a weird one, if you will. Well, not a weird one, but number 7 to me, it goes back and forth with these guys, but number 7 to me has to be 175 to 177. It has to be. That to me is the issue. One of the best Ian has done And this is when he's first starting out. I think he's what, 9 issues in maybe, or something, 15, 12 issues in, 10 something issues in. He's basically in the team. He's basically like 10 something issues in maybe at this time. Well, maybe not, maybe more so. Maybe it's about 15 issues in. But what a way to do a 175 issue. I mean, one, you do see that there is the possibility, you do see the strong hints of Sally and Sonic getting back together. You still see that, you see that first strong indication. But the way it was executed was just so good, in my opinion. Now, some people might say, might have a difference of opinion, and that's fine. But I always felt that 175 to 177 was good because it's sort of like, to me, it's like a full circle kind of deal. And in a sense, when you think about it, it's like a Saturday AM episode in some ways, with a little bit of Sonic X mixed in. I mean, here you have Eggman basically coming up with, once again, this big device, this master plan to use these new things that we've been seeing lately. We've seen them for quite some time now. I mean, for quite some time at this moment, called the egg grapes, and you knew something was up when you saw those. So for Eggman to do what he did in 175 to 177 was pretty good. I mean, basically you have him coming up with this new machine that basically he built specifically to counter Sonic move for move. And yet out of his cockiness, he doesn't quite get, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. I need to not just build it to counter Sonic, I need to build it to counter his friends. Which comes back to bite him towards the end of 177. Now I like this because, you know, here you have Eggman after he captures everybody, because it makes it look like he's basically zapped everyone, basically just disintegrated them, blew them into oblivion. But then he reveals, oh, I didn't kill them. I just teleported them to the egg grapes, to my prison. And, you know, yeah, one might say, now when one sees who the surviving members are, some might say it's just to suck up to Sega, and it might be. And this is what I talked about before. In typing, in writing, if you will, or text, if you want to call it, and video. That basically every now and then an anniversary issue, or an anniversary issue-like story arc, which begins in an anniversary issue or ends in one, is always going to will sometimes focus on the video game characters being the heroes, being the survivors, being the ones that basically come to the rescue of the other characters. So, to me, I can accept that. You know, so to me, I can accept that, if you will, and understand why they went in that direction. I can accept that. But the way it was done was so, and I'm not kissing up to Ian here, but the way he did this was very Sad AM-like, with a little bit of Sonic X. I mean, here you have Eggman, he's captured everybody, not even thinking, you know, things could backfire, and he's just walking around being cocky, like, and he's just walking, just pacing about, being cocky and going like, yeah, it was just so easy to beat you guys. I mean, so easy, I could have beat you with just one pinky, you know. It's just so easy. I mean, you guys are so pathetic, blah, blah, blah. And it reminded me a lot of Robotnik, how he acted when he did the Doomsday deal. You know, he thought he had everything well in hand, and then it backfires. And that's exactly what happens here. And again, like I say, the ones that rescue them, with the exception, I should mention this, that Nicole was also there with them to help rescue the others. That basically, you know, to me, To me, it really helped make this story what it is. And then, like I said, the way it continued from issue to issue. You think you have Eggman. He's like, oh great, he's attacking everybody. He's finally gonna zap everybody, including Sonic, back into the egg grapes and drain them. But then you realize, oh shit, my plan. Then and then then when you read it, and then you read exactly, because he's thinking, I beat a bottle. That was easy. Now to go back to the egg grape. Because here you have Eggman basically thinking he's done it again. He's recaptured everybody. Now he's also got Sonic and the ones that tried to rescue them. And he's just going to finally go back to the egg grapes and gloat again, right? And then he finds out, oh, by the way, there's nobody in the egg grapes. So, to me it was really, this was just an very well done story, 3-issue story. And, I like how it kind of came full circle, because now you go from them living in Freedom HQ, Knothole, if you will, in Knothole Village, to now being in a place that's very reminiscent of Mobotropolis. And to me, it's again it was just very very well done. So I really enjoyed it. Sorry about that. But again, I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I like how it came full circle for all of them. It allowed Sally to come full circle, go back to being the old Sally with the hairstyle and everything. It came full circle for Nicole, because let's not forget, in her physical introduction in Stargazing, her Link's introduction, that it came full circle for her, because now she's able to living amongst everybody, but instead of living in a computer. So to me, this accomplished a lot of things. It definitely put in, with Eggman, his ego and stuff was written very well, because now it's like he knows he can't, because he basically learns from this that he can't just build something to beat Sonic. He's got to build something that's going to deal with Sonic and his friends and all that. So to me, very well done, and that's why I feel this is like, what was I? Number 7, I believe. No, wait a minute. I did. Yeah, number 7 on the list. This is why I believe it's number 7 on the list, because, let's see. Yeah, number 7. I have to look back and rewatch this again to make sure. Yeah, number 7. To me, number 6, and this will be the last one before I go back to work, because I'm going to probably split this, because I'm going to have to split this in 2 parts. But number 6 to me, again, it's kind of a toss-up, if you will. But I think number 6 to me has to be the build-up towards issue 75. That, to me, was a great build. No matter how you feel about Ken Penders or Carl Bolas or whoever wrote it, whoever came up with this, it was a great build. When you read the World Tour arc, and you read the side stories that come after it, and you read some of the stories that connect, like in the Knuckles stories, like in the Knuckles issues, it's like, this couldn't have been done any better. Here you have this, what people are assuming is this, nobody knows at the time. Here you have this mysterious force basically activating all these different satellites and causing all these different effects, all these different events to occur. And it's just a great build. And I will say this, some of the artwork for this was great. And as you built towards it, and you got to issues like issue 72 and 73 and 74, and then 75, It's like, what a build and what a revelation. I mean, yes, this did help tie the games more closer to, tie the comics more closer to the games than ever before, but what a revelation and what a build. I mean, everything that basically connected and was, you read issue 73 and it basically tells you what was connected and how it came about and how it works. So to me, the build towards issue 75, from the build during the World Tour 2 arc, the side stories along with it, in the Knuckles comics, the build towards 75 was very well done. And that's all I'm going to say on it. And I'll be back later with the second part in this top 10 best.